And so in introducing our morning message today, Barley set this up talking about the training that our practitioner students have had for the last several years. And so each one of them is going to be sharing a short aha moment, or something that they've learned, or something that they have heard that now it's real in their heart. These will be personal sharings, and I know that you all support them. I suspect there's some nervous energy on the front row this morning. But Lori Shipperite will come up first, and she will be followed by Judy Taylor-Foss and Michelle Germain and Randy Sutherland. So I will turn it over to Lori first.
You look like a student.
I do. Standing on the shoulders of the greats. These are some of my practitioners, a few of my practitioner studies books. So being in practitioner studies for about 2 years now has been a grand adventure. It's been challenging. There have been a lot of personal challenges through this adventure, but it has given me so many gifts, never ending. It's they're always unfolding for me, and I know they will continue to do so. And there are so many aha moments that I've had in our practitioner studies. So I had to choose one though. And one of the gifts that this practitioner studies has given me is the ability to dive deep, to really dive deep and swim in the deep. And then prior to prac studies, I, maybe gave the deep a sideways glance through a glass darkly. I mean, here and there I could catch it, but now I have the ability to really swim in it. And prac studies in particular has given me the tools to ask myself better questions, better and deeper questions. It's also given me the courage to answer those questions from the deep within me, from a place that is more honest, to go from my head to my heart. And most importantly, the prac studies has given me the wisdom to know what to do with those answers once they come to light. And that is, if I am at all unsure, to be still and to listen to Spirit. But to do that, I have to trust. I have to trust God. I have to trust life. So this was one of the better, deeper questions that I got to ask myself. Question of faith. Do I trust God? The first part of the answer came easily. Yes, of course, Spirit, I can feel Spirit every time I connect. I know the heart of Spirit. I know God. I can feel it. The second part of the answer was a bit of a surprise to me. It was a different response altogether. And the truth was, I really didn't trust the law. By the law, I mean that part of God that does the work, that creative medium, the mysterious part. I've been told over and over and over that the law is impartial, non-judgmental. You give it information, you give it instructions, and it does the instructions. It doesn't think about it, it just does it. But I didn't really trust that. So that begs another question. How then are my treatments working? Because my treatments were working. I was having some pretty good, fair success with my treatments. And I figured out that I believed and had faith that Spirit was good and that the good that it had tended to be for others through my treatment. Therefore, it took care of them for their highest good. But somehow, when it came to treating for me, the good was not always for me, but only through me for others, or sometimes only through me for others. I was releasing to a law that I was hoping would respond. So, when one day I read a passage in Living Science of Mind, which is one of the books that I'm standing on now, by the way. It's one of my favorite books. If you don't have it, you want it. And it's probably a passage that I've read 100 times in different ways throughout his teaching. And that is that the law is just like gravity. When I get up in the morning, I don't think about it. I put my foot on the floor, and there I am, standing on the floor, not floating around somewhere. The law works just like gravity. It works every time, mathematically and mechanically. And at that point, I made a choice. I allowed this truth to drop from my head to my heart. And I actively chose to stand on the shoulders of millions of people who have proven the law before me. And especially, of course, the greats, like Ernest Holmes. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to try and work hard to make any of this happen. I can simply trust it. It's been proven. This is why now people often hear me saying when I'm doing treatment, during the release part of my treatment, I normally say, I release into the law that works mathematically and mechanically every time. And this is to remind myself that I can trust the law. And spirit is always for my good. And as I stand on the shoulders of God, and so it is.
And so it is.
Go, Lori. Believing is seeing. Okay? Why? You'll see it when you believe it. Sounds like a good book title to me. Well, why? I was introduced to the Why Solution about 7 to 8 years ago when I heard a story by Armin and Angelina, if anybody was there, and how we always ask the question, the negative questions. Why am I so fat? Why am I so stupid? Why am I so poor? Why doesn't anybody love me or like me even? What you think about is what you get back, right? So let's reverse that with the why solution. Why am I so smart? Why am I so fit? Why am I so rich? Well, I got to test that very, very soon one day when I looked down and my diamond was missing from the ring and saw this empty ring sitting. Needless to say, my stomach did many flip-flops. And I looked everywhere. Where did I lose my diamond? Then I thought, how long has it been gone? When and where could I have lost it? The answer was just about anywhere. I searched my car, my house, my workplace, and a hospital. The parking lots and sidewalks, and remembering the why story, I kept repeating over and over while I was doing this, why am I finding my diamond so easily? That became my mantra for a couple of days, why am I finding my diamond? Then I decided, okay, it's time to surrender. I may never find it. I'm looking in the parking lot. You know how many shiny, sparkly things there are in the carpets, and the sidewalks, and the parking lots? Oh, I was on my hands and knees everywhere. It's like, okay, because I think I saw something. surrendered and accepted it. I thought, "Oh, this was hard, harder than losing an earring." However, on this Sunday morning, one Sunday morning, I got up, I woke up and thought, knew I should try it one more time. And I jumped out of bed. Well, maybe I just kind of leaped a little bit. And I started my mantra again. Why am I finding my diamond so easily? And I walked through the house from my bedroom all the way to the front room, which is like 57 feet. I'm repeating my mantra over and over. Why am I finding my diamond when I got to the front room? I mean, this little piece in the carpet just like sparkled big. And it was like sparkling right at me, and I got down on my hands and knees, I'm looking, I'm going, oh my God. It was my diamond. I was just like, all I could say, I was already on my hands and knees. So thank you. That became a mantra for and I couldn't wait to get to church. I was in Tampa church, Science of Mind church then. And I couldn't wait to get there and tell everybody, show my diamond, even though it wasn't in my finger. I had to reset in a whole new setting, by the way. But anyways, let's see, where was I? I was ecstatic and more than thankful. I was really more thankful for the fact that this mantra really worked. It wasn't even the diamond anymore. It was just the fact that it worked. So, now I say why. Why am I so blessed? Why am I so lucky? Why was I so lucky to be one of the founding members of this center? I am so blessed. And why was I so lucky to even find this teaching in the first place? Lucky to have a loving, caring community to be a part of. Why do I believe? Because this stuff really works? Why do I believe this stuff really works? Because it does. So, I ask you all, why are you so blessed? And so it is.
All right. So my aha moment actually has some threads of the other two stories. This is the first time I've heard those two. You know, for like years, I have had one affirmation that I felt like was a one-size-fits-all affirmation. And it was that the universe supports my highest good. And I feel like I said that and had that mindset for so long that it really became like embodied knowledge. And that was like my faith, the essence of my faith, that no matter what happened, it was for my highest good. I also had a sort of dim awareness that when it didn't seem to be working out to my highest good, it was only me that I had to blame. That I was somehow in the way and had created some obstacle to my highest good. So, you know, part of the whole practitioner training has really been has served, at least for me, to, and I think for all of us, to deepen and solidify my faith in this goodness, in this supportive universe. But I had this experience not too long ago, and it was a bit of an eye-opener for me. I was going to this remote location, and I had been there before, but I didn't really remember just how remote it was. Checked my gas tank on the way out of town, and it looked like I had plenty to just at least get over the bridge. And I thought, well, I'll just get gas when I get to Bradenton. So anyway, when I get off the interstate, there, of course, there's no signs that say say like next gas station, 0.3 miles or anything. It's just, I'm on another road all of a sudden, just going without signs, without anything. And my gas tank is looking like 3 miles to go. And I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, well, surely this will be all right. Universe supports my eyes good. Surely there'll be a filling station up here somewhere, so. Well, then I'm still not seeing any signs of life, and I've got dashes now. I'm like, so, dashes when you're out of gas and just blips on the radar. And so just as that's happening, I start to see signs of life, like a trace of civilization. But when I get to this place, what I see instead of it pretty much looked like this. It was a filling station. I thought it was at first. But then I realized it was just a country store. And these tanks out front, it didn't look exactly like this, you understand, but it did look like it was from another century or something. The tanks didn't have fluorescent lights, they didn't have any place to put your card, they didn't have any numbers, there was no gas signs, and cars were parked on both sides of the tanks. I'm like, oh my God, obviously these are not working tanks. And so I just took off, struck out on another road going nowhere. With no miles in my tank, no gas in my tank. And after about 3 or 4 miles, it dawns on me that this is not good. And I start like my GPS for nearest gas station nearest me, it's saying turn around, so I did. And I ended up back at right where I started. And I somehow got there with about 6 or 8 miles left. I had gone 6 or 8 miles after it said I had nothing. And somebody's pumping their gas at that filling station when I got there. I pumped my gas too, and I had cash, and you had to go inside. There was only one type of gas, no high test, no diesel, and they had to set it for you, and then you went out and pumped it. I mean, they really were archaic tanks, but they were working. And I just did my usual thing, like, God, how stupid can I be? I was so dumb, and then I just set up to the wobbly yonder, and, what kind of fool am I? And so it didn't really dawn on me that this is kind of a pattern until I saw this passage, and it was about love and fear. And it was saying that there's only really love, and I sort of translate that as to faith. There's either love or there's fear. And it was saying, and I'm thinking, I'm not a fearful person. Even when I was thinking I was going to run out of gas, I was thinking, well, it'll be okay. I'll run out of gas, but someone will help me. I wasn't aware of being fearful. But I read this passage and it said, so the next time you feel that irritation or that flip in your stomach and you're like, I'm fine. This is fine. It'll work. I can make this work. I thought, uh-oh, that's me. That's what I do. I wasn't aware of being afraid. I was only aware of being irritated. On that drive, irritated that they would have archaic pumps and let people think that they were working. Irritated. I was probably getting irritated at why would people live out in the boonies like this? By the time I got back to the tech, but I didn't realize that what I was doing was really a lack of faith. And I was believing what I was thinking. And I think I do that a lot, and so do a lot of people. I think I was aware of how judgments separate us, but not so much as just a thought like it's not trusting. I might as well have been in the desert and here was water, but I thought it was a mirage, so I'm going to die of thirst, 10 feet from the oasis, because I'm believing what I'm thinking. And so I've had to pay attention to that and all my little sources of irritation, and just discomfort and sometimes resignation. I'm like, this is a crappy situation, and I just guess I'll make the most of it. But why? So what I'm doing is I'm judging God. I'm like saying the universe is not is really giving me something sort of half-baked or whatever, but I'll see what I can do with it. You know, so anyway, I realized that when I start to feel irritated or dissatisfied or like I don't like the situation, I need to lean into that a bit. And that's what I've been learning in this class, is that we need to lean into the more difficult emotions and see what they have for us. You know, at least in this situation, I gotta at least get out of the car you know, and check it out, because turns out that my universe was supporting me and for my highest good, and I was the only one that was thinking it wasn't. So that was my aha moment.
I really like that picture. Because it reminds me of the country store that when I was a kid, I would go to buy my comic books at. And it had those same pumps out there. I'm not sure they had gasoline, it may have been whale oil at the time. I've spent most of my life working in journalism, working as a writer and a reporter. Started when I was in high school, through college, and continues down to this day. And my job is really great because I get to talk to really interesting people and then come back and tell everybody else what they said. And in order to do that, I discovered that you have to ask very good questions to get back the answers that you want. And I'm reminded of the fact that this is kind of an ongoing process. Not long ago, I had the opportunity to interview this very eminent trauma surgeon, very brilliant guy. Well, I sat down with him. I took out my notepad and my pen, and I took out my iPhone, and I set it beside us as we were talking. And then I proceeded to ask him this question. It was a very long, multi-part question that we kind of went on, and I wanted to make sure I got the right answer. Well, there was a moment of silence as he looked at me, puzzled, and then all of a sudden, my iPhone lit up, and the voice of Siri came out and said, "Randy, I don't quite understand that." This was a shock to me because Siri had never previously spoken to me. I also discovered in that moment, if you're wondering what the voice of God sounds like. Well, after we laughed about that, I rephrased my question. It was very short, and it was very open-ended, and the doctor proceeded to give me some very good answers to the question that I wanted. And I began to realize that what is a question, but it is a request. You are asking someone to give you something. And this is as true in metaphysics as it is in journalism. So you have to ask the right question to get the right answer. And you can't be too hung up on the answer that you're going to receive. If the surgeon had answered the question that I gave him, the story probably wouldn't have been all that interesting. But because I was willing to trust in spirit and what he was willing to give me, then I got a great story from him, because he's told me things that I would never have even thought to ask about. Spirit is a lot like that as well. Spirit will respond to what you ask, particularly if you are willing to accept what you are given, instead of deciding that I've got to have this. I need to win the lottery in order to be secure. And I must get a certain amount of money. I must have a house on the water that has 6 bedrooms, is in a colonial style. The problem is that maybe you don't really need that, because what you're not really asking for is that colonial house. You're asking for security. You're asking for a place where you can do what you want. When you ask for a job, maybe you don't need a particular job. Maybe you need one in which you can express yourself, express your art, express what makes you creative. So asking questions is one thing that I've figured out is very important. But the formulation of the question is only the first step. The second part is the actual asking. When I was in practitioner training, it was a long time ago, but I still remember it. Remember, we went through all of these classes that all of you have gone through. And then at the very end, we had this, what was called a practicum, in which you needed to do 5 case studies, which required you to actually work with someone, do treatment with them, and then they had to sign a statement about the demonstration that they had received. Reverend Lane remembers this, I know. So I've gone through all of that, all of these classes, and then I started trying to do these case studies. Well, time went by, and I couldn't get a single one. It just wasn't happening. So I went up to, one day I went to the assistant minister at our church, Susan Zoller, who you also know. And I said to her, I just don't think this is going to work. I just cannot get these case studies done. I mean, this is just not happening. Nobody wants to do treatment with me, and if I do treatment with them, they're not getting any results. Well, she paused for a moment and looked at me. And then after a moment, she said, well, you want people to treat with you, or you want to treat with people. Have you treated about that? And I said, no, was I supposed to? And she said, well, go away and do that, and then come back to see me. Well, I went away, I did that, and within just a few short weeks, I had all 5 case studies done. People came to me, and they got wonderful demonstrations of all sorts. This was not my doing. It was my opening up to what God had to offer. It was asking an open-ended question, and it was allowing them to answer it in the way that was best for them. I mean, I even, it was pretty wonderful to see. I had one woman who had been alone for 20 years, and she decided she wanted to find a partner. Well, we worked together, and within about a month, she was engaged to be married. And I was able to go to her wedding, as a matter of fact, which was very nice, and we had lots of food and cake and things like that, which is why I like weddings. When it comes right down to it, I mean, we talk about being a practitioner, but we are all practitioners. We are all asking God questions, asking Spirit questions, and we are expecting to get an answer. But we have to know what we want. It has to be important to us. And then we have to ask it in the right way and know that we will get the right answer. And I found that when I asked the right question, I got the right answer. Thank you.